If Tata improves service experience and perfects the fit and finish of a car before delivering it to the customer, would Tata become a number one car manufacturer of India? I think yes. Hi, I'm Sridhar, an amateur car enthusiast. I'm here to share my 4-year experience with my Tata Tiago. Before I get started, here are some important highlights and a quick summary. The Tiago is an amazing car for a first-time car buyer. While my buying experience started off a bit rocky, it has improved over the time. However, the fit and finish from Tata is a hit and miss even today, and it's far from being perfect. But the Tiago is a solidly built car with amazing handling and braking, making it easy to drive on any kind of terrain. The Tiago's gearbox is a bit notchy, but it's not a deal breaker. That 1.2-liter Revertron petrol engine is not the best out there, but it does its job so well. The Tiago's boot space is limited, and it has always worked for me when planned mindfully. Overall, the Tiago is an amazing car for a mixed use of highway and city, but it's not an ideal car for city-only conditions like bumper-to-bumper traffic because the fuel efficiency can get low as 8 to 10 km per liter. Regarding the service experience, it was bad initially, it got improved, but it still needs a lot of improvement. Finding a third-party service center like Bosch has fixed all of my maintenance worries, but that's not a permanent solution. For more insights on how good the build quality on an accident and how worse the service experience can get, continue watching. 13/11/2020. Yeah, that is the day I took my Tata Tiago's delivery and one of the happiest day in my life. And what a magical moment I had there. Because I'm taking delivery of my first car. Not only my first car, it's my family's first car. And also that is a time where the enthusiasm around the car has begun for me. So with all those enthusiasm, I started driving my car and oh my god, what an experience I was having, and I enjoyed every minute in the car. The car felt magical. So, with all this enthusiasm, I went to multiple places, and in no time, I think it's under 2 weeks, I did the 1,000 kilometer mark. And there it starts the relationship with the service centers. So the first two service with Tata, I dropped my car at Tafe Access Coimbatore, and it was pretty much smooth, I would say, because there is nothing wrong with the car. The car is completely fine, and they have to do some general checkup and stuff. So it was pretty much smooth with Tafe Access Coimbatore at that time. So yeah, so and I'm so much excited to drive the car, and it was also the time of COVID second wave, so I was not doing much of driving. And when the COVID settled, that it comes. So the much awaited moment, the long drive with my car. So I had to go to Bangalore from Coimbatore and come back to Coimbatore at the same day. So the estimated kilometers I had to do that day was somewhere around like 850 to 900 kilometers. So yeah, I started my journey at morning 3:30, and I loved each and every minute in that trip. The car felt so much comfortable for even the passengers and for me also. And I was not at all tired when I reached Bangalore. And I had a whole function to attend. I couldn't sleep at all. And I started driving back to Coimbatore. And only at the 80% mark, I was feeling a little bit of and tired. I felt sleepy and everything. So I stopped, took a coffee, and reached home safely. But the car was amazing on that trip. I loved it. And by this time, the car was doing somewhere around like 7, 8 months, and I got so used to with the car's habit. And for surprisingly, I and car got that bond. So I was so happy with the bonding happening with the car, and I'm doing a lot of weekend trips, enjoying my drives. And that is this one weekend I was coming back after meeting a friend, and I had to suddenly stop at a junction because of a stupid driver in front of me. So there is this Alto which is also coming behind me, and he couldn't stop at the right time, and he had rear-ended me. So yeah, the accident happened. The first crash happened, and that is two things. So one is the build quality. I am impressed at that time because I thought it was a bump initially, but I went out, I checked the damage. My bumpers clips were broken. There is this little bit dent on the panel, and the crash bar has completely crumbled. It has done its job so well that I couldn't feel anything inside the car. So I was impressed with Tata's build quality there. And the second thing is that the service itself, the service experience itself. So that day itself, I took the car to the service center, and the next day we started the insurance process. And within a week, everything got completed, and they called me. The vehicle is to update me the vehicle is ready, and I went to the service center to pick it up. And for some reason, the Tafe access in Coimbatore is dark. They have a lot of trees, and then for no reason, or I don't know what is the actual reason, they had parked my car inside an shed, which is also dark. Okay, and it was an evening time. I went there, and I to pick up my car, and I paid the rest of the amount. I couldn't find anything on the color mismatch or anything like that at the time between the bumper and the other panel. And I took delivery of the car, and I went home. And after a couple of days, I noticed that bumper and the panel's colors were not matching. And I also noticed that the paint guy who sprayed my bumper did not spray it well. I can actually see the black spots in the bumper, which is the raw bumper itself. So I was disappointed, and I wrote in complaint to Tata saying, listing all these things. And I got a response from Tata. And I also got the response from Tafe Access head office and everybody. And they told that take the car back to the service center itself. They will fix the car, fix the issue. So I went back and I tried to explain them the issue, and they said, okay, they will do it. And what happened there was when I was explaining, I explained it on the right hand side, and then for some reason they only painted the right hand side. So, and again it happened. So when I went to pick up my car, it was parked so closely to an wall, and then in a tight space. So I could only check the right hand side, and I took delivery again. I went home, and I noticed that it was only painted half side. So again, I reached out to them and saying all these things, and that is also the time when my car completed 1 year. And also that is a time when I noticed when I noticed there is little bit of an door alignment to the panel. So because when they were removing the dent, something had gone wrong. It was not aligned properly, and I told all those complaints on my third service, which is my first main service, and they said they will fix it again as usual. They promised the same thing. And yeah, so the service got completed. I got a call from the service center. I went back to pick up my car. Then I can actually notice that nothing has been done on the rear bumper. The panel was fixed 95%, and even the service advisor told that let's just leave it like that because there is no water leak or anything, and let's not tinker or do more modifications, and the problem get worse and we will not be able to fix it. So I was okay with it, with the 95% result, and I was happy. But I was more concerned about this panel color mismatching. And actually, they had polished the bumper, they did not repaint or anything. And I was so fed up. And when I tried to explain it to the manager over there, the paint booth manager, he was fed up listening to me. He doesn't want to listen to me. And he just walked away when we were having a discussion. So I felt bad there, and I took my car from the service. I left, and I decided that these people are incapable of doing that particular job. But I was really, really not okay with my color not matching to the other panels. So then again, Cafe Access people had called me for taking feedback for the service, and I complained to it, saying all these things. And then they said, please bring the car again. So yeah, I thought they were gonna fix it. I went there, and then they said they will paint it again, and they painted again. And actually, they painted again, paint the full bumper again, and the color was not matching at all. Okay. Why I'm saying the color was not matching even though they painted, I'll tell you at last, because I have a different service center doing the color job again, and they matched it so well. That's the reason why I'm telling it is not matching. And at that time also it was not matching so well, or I can actually visibly see the things which is not matching. So yeah, so that it got over, and at that point my car was doing fine without any complaints or issues in the car, except this color mismatch, uh, which was bothering me a little, but I was happy with the car's performance and everything. And there comes my fourth service, and I had no other option to put it in Tafe Access itself, and they had serviced it, and it's a minor service, and yeah, it was fine. There was no complaints in the minor service at that point. And it was after that I got a call from SG Motors. So SG Motors is an Skoda dealer in Coimbatore, and they said that they have started an service center and then dealership. They started the dealership and service center at Coimbatore, and I was so happy because I thought like I'm gonna get Skoda service from them, and I was so happy, and I was like, okay, finally there is some relief from this worst service experience I'm having. And for my next service, it was a major service, so it was my fifth service. I took my car to SG Motors, and it was nice. I had a pleasant time there. I was made to sit in a very comfortable sofa in a good air conditioned place, and I was given a coffee. And the service advisor came even before I finished my coffee, and within 15 minutes I was out of the service center after dropping the car. It never happened with Cafe Access. I used to wait like 30 to 40 minutes there before the service center attends me and come out of the service center. It generally takes 45 minutes in Cafe Access, but here it's within 15 minutes. I was out of the service center after dropping the car. I was so happy with all those things. And at the end of the day, the bill was a bit higher. And also, there is a couple of things happened during the service. The advisor called me in the midday, and he just sent me a photo also of my tire worn off completely on one side, where the steel structure of the tire had started to show out. I never knew it because it was happening inside the tire on the driver's side. It happened because of the wheel alignment issue is what the service center people are telling, but I'm not pretty sure why it had happened. And also, yeah, so that is one thing which happened at during the day, and rest everything was fine. And yeah, and I did not change the tire during that service because the SG Motors had quoted me a very higher price. When I checked online, it was a bit higher, so I thought I'll change it outside. And without changing the tire, I did the rest of the service. All my complaints and everything were fixed by SG Motors, and they delivered the car in the evening itself. And the price was a bit higher, the bill was a bit higher, but I was okay with all the experience I was having with SG Motors. I was so happy with the service experience I got from SG Motors. So yeah, everything went fine, and after immediately after the service, I had to go for a trip, and I went for a trip. I think it was around 100 kilometers, and then I started noticing an white mark, and those are the times when that is the beginning of the time when I started to notice my tires, conditions and everything, and I started to notice one of the tire is getting worn even more. So let's say that is this left to right. On the left hand side is getting one more, on the right hand side it's completely fine, having an even one. So I could notice it because there is this black color additional wear which is happening, and the color difference I could match it. So I had bit of a doubt, and I went to a local Bridgestone dealer, and he had confirmed the wheel alignment is bad, and he explained me how the wheel alignment has to be done. He had explained step by step process, and I was so surprised to see the Tafe or the service center of Tatas are not equipped or not aware of with this maintenance, tire maintenance. So I stopped. After that, I just stopped all those tire maintenance work with the service centers. From then on, the local Bridgestone dealer has been my tire service person. And after that, I have no tire issues. My tires were completely fine. And even I remember the service advisor from SJ Motors was telling me that the tire would give only the tire life of that particular Bridgestone B520 is what I think. It's only 40,000 kilometers or 50,000 kilometers which he was putting. But when the Bridgestone dealer itself promised that that tire should do somewhere between 70 to 80,000 kilometers. And I was so surprised. And then the reason he gave me why the service center is quitting like this is because of all these reasons. So that was a big list of reasons that he gave, and I agree to all of them. So at this point, I stopped trusting Tata service centers for my tire service, and I started to trust the local tire dealer. And yeah, and everything was fine until that one time I started noticing there is a malfunction on my audio control on the steering wheel. So what is happening is that when I click for the next track button, it mutes the thing, and when I click mute, it changes the track. And when I click the call answer button, it increases the volume. So something was happening. It was not happening very frequently, so I was not really bothered about it. I was completely fine with it, and I just decided to move on with it until I can fix it on my next service. So yeah, so that comes my next service, which is my sixth service, a minor service. And yeah, as usual, it was bad because I was expecting the service to be good with SG motors again. But again, the engine compartment was not cleaned properly, and yeah, and I didn't want to bother them a lot because they felt so much busy. So oh, yeah, so and all these issues were not fixed. So technically, the thing has to be changed. The audio controller in the steering wheel has to be changed, and it was costing me somewhere around 1,600 or 1,900 rupees, and I don't want it to be done at that point, and still I haven't changed it because it was only not working in less frequent times. And also there were other issues. So one is this: my AC knob was not very clicky enough for me when the dial was not clicky enough for me. That is called neck picking, but they also told me there's nothing wrong with that knob, so I couldn't bother much. And that is also one more issue, which is the last issue, which was my passive tray. It started rattling. I started to notice the rattle, and I told them, and then they just put some tape on the hinges, and then they gave it to me. But after a couple of days, it started to rattle again. So yeah, so all these things were going on, and yeah, and that is just one major setback from SJ Motors. So this is when I was doing a trip, and then I started noticing the fuel efficiency of my car is getting lower. It was worse, I would say. So in generally on a highway, I should get around 20 kilometers on an 80 to 100 kilometer cruise, but I was only getting somewhere around like 16 to 17 kilometer per liter, and the car is empty. It's only me and my friend in the car. So I noticed something was wrong, and I came home. It was night when I reached my home, and I parked my car. I went to sleep. It was next day evening when my mom told that there is something, there is a petrol smell which is coming from my car. I went, I started my car, and I started to notice the petrol smell. I turned off the car immediately. I bent down and I looked, and that I can find some drops of petrol coming out of the left side, rear left side. I went around, I saw, and that is this leak in the fuel line. And immediately I took a picture and I just sent it to the TAFE Access, sorry, the SGA Motors manager, another service manager, and he said that he's not working tomorrow. So he requested me to take the car to the service center, and he said he will update the service center people about my arrival. But I thought that'll be somebody waiting for me at the service center, but no one was waiting for me. Instead, I went inside to the reception area and I told them, did that person notify you guys? And they clearly said no. And I told them about my situation with the petrol leak and everything. And the car was parked at a good sunlight in middle of EVs, new vehicles, and a lot of other vehicles which came for the service. And I told them it's a fire hazard vehicle. Couldn't bother much. They requested me to split. They gave me a coffee again, though, and I waited 45 minutes until the service manager came, and I explained him all these things, and he said he'll bring a mechanic. And he bought a mechanic after 15 to 20 minutes, and the mechanic checked, and he said that get me a fuel line, he'll fix it. And after that, it took like 1.5 hours for those people to find an fuel line. And I don't know why. It's a hot selling model of Tata, and they were not able to find a fuel line for my car, even though the part number and everything was right in front of them. They couldn't find a fuel line, and instead they bought a fuel line after 1.5 hours. I think it was not 1.5 hours; it was somewhere around like 40 minutes. They bought a wrong fuel line, and again they went inside saying that they will search for the right fuel line. And it took another 45 minutes for them to come back and then say that the fuel line is not in the stock, and requested me to drop the car and go for a week. I was so pissed, and I shouted at them, and I called the Tafe Access people again. And it was a old service center, so I called them, and they were actually professional at this point because they requested me to come, but instead they also told that you park the car somewhere on the shadow, and then they will send an local, which is the mobile mechanic, to my place where I am at, and then he will fix the leak and then only bring the car to the service center, is what they told. And I told it's just 2 kilometers, I will come. And then they said that it's sure, okay, if you want to come, come on your own risk. We are not responsible. And I took the car to the service center with the fire hazard car to the service center. I went there and they immediately checked my tank, which was almost empty. And then they said it now it's not a fire hazard vehicle, so just chill, go sit inside the room. We will look for the part. And at that same time, the manager told me that the part will not be available. It's not a hot selling or the fast moving part, so it will not be available for sure. But he will prepare it and give it to me the next day. And as he promised, he prepared it, he fixed my car, and he delivered it the next evening itself. So I was happy about Cafe Access at the time, and yeah, my car was doing fine except these three issues. I don't have any other big issues going with my car, nothing on the mechanical side. So I was happy. And there comes my next service, which is my sixth service again with SGM Motors. So I don't wanted to put it with Tafe Access because I know the service bad. So I put it with SG Motors. As expected, the engine compartment was not cleaned again. I think they added some additional charges or some packages to cleaning the engine area, engine room. So I couldn't bother much. I didn't bother them at all with those cleaning or nitpicking things. But they couldn't also fix any other issues, so they dropped my car back, and I don't want to bother them at all, so I just took my card. And there I started to lose hope with Tata service, and I started to look for third party service centers because I was not happy with Tata service at all. And yeah, so and also in the previous service the SJ people had notified me about my battery is about to die and I have to replace it. So, and I didn't change it with them because they quoted somewhere around like 7,000 rupees for the battery. But later, I was at a hospital with my dad, and my battery gave up. And while he was getting the treatment, I just changed it by calling the local Amazon dealer, which I could find on Google. And he only charged me like 5,200 with exchange. And I replaced it, and I felt so much, like I felt like I did not waste a lot of money by doing it at the service center. So yeah, that is a pretty much smooth thing happened, and I also changed my wipers to the mirror frameless ones, and I should have done it as soon as I got my car. And I'm telling you, just pick it; it's worth every penny. So yeah, so all these things were happening, and I also started to notice one another issue with my car, which is my boot lid is not opening completely. The suspension of the boot lid was getting weaker, and the boot lid is only opening till 70%. The rest 30% I had to push it. So, but it's holding the weight of the boot. So I was not really bothered about the boot lid suspension. I can push it all the time. Still, it's like that, and it's been almost like 2 years after that. So my car was doing completely fine. There are no major issues or anything which was going with my car at the point, except with the small suspension issues and the AC knobs thing, the audio control in the steering wheel and stuff like that. I was happy with the car, doing a lot of trips and stuff. And that was this one time I had to reverse my car, and I put my car in reverse. Nothing had happened, is what I thought. But mechanically, the car is in reverse and car is moving back when I release my clutch. But the electronics are not in reverse. So my sensors are not working, my cameras are not up, the driver's display is not showing reverse. And I was shocked to see this. Then after googling, I could find there were a lot of other people who was facing with this issue, and it's just in simple 200 rupees sensor which is in the engine, which is not working properly, and it is not working only when the engine is super hot, otherwise it's working fine. So I thought I'll fix it in the next service. So I took all these complaints and noted down all these complaints, and my next service came. When I wanted to book it, I found that there is one more new service center which has popped up in Coimbatore, which is Kun Motors. And I went to Kun Motors. I dropped my car there, and as usual, they were also bad because I dropped it at a different location. They sent my car to a different location to get this service, and I had to pick my car at a different location. So I don't know why that had happened. And they took permission and all, but they just said that they wanted to move my car to a different location. So yeah, I said okay, and as soon as I get the car at the given set time, I was happy with that. So, and I also told them about my propulsory issue, the suspension about the boot, and the reverse gear issue. And I also specifically told them it only happens at the higher temperature when the engine is in. And when I went to pick up my car, and it is a minor service, so I was not really giving a lot of attention to other things. And I went there, I picked up my car, and none of these things were fixed. Actually, the parcel tray got worsened. And when I was trying to pick up or remove the parcel tray, the entire panel left and right had come with it. And I don't know why. And I could find that did not pop it up right, because there is this one hinge which has to be put it in a very tricky way, and I could do it myself in 5 minutes. And after that, that was completely fixed. And actually, they had put new clips, so that had fixed the dattle issue also. But they didn't fit it properly. So I fitted it after taking it home, and that was completely fine. So, and the second thing was that the suspension again, they also told the same thing, that they had to like change the suspension about on the bootlet to be changed, and they also recommended just leave it anyhow, it's going to get worsened and it will hold for some time, is what they recommended. And the main problem, which was the reverse gear. So the service center person told me that they have put reverse and then it was working fine. Then I checked with him, was the engine hot at the time? He said no. And when I told him about what the feedback, when I told the issue was there, and he recalled, and then he said how to heat up the engine and how to check. So I don't know how should I give the answer to them, where they are the ones who should supposed to give me an suggestion and check things and stuff. And it felt so pity, and I didn't wanted to raise my voice there because I was expecting this with the Tata service. So that was it. And that is one another issue. That was the service due indicator, which was there in my card for a longer time, because none of the previous service centers had cleared it for me. So this time also it was there. And then I told this person, and then he bought that person who flashes that instrument cluster, and he came with a laptop and he checked and he said that it cannot be done because something had gone wrong with instrument cluster. There could be a possibility that they will have to change it. So he recommended to fix it early as possible. And next service is also fine, is what he told. So I was a bit panicked because, like, I don't wanted to change my instrument cluster. Sorry, the panel, the speedometer panel, and everything inside it. So because I don't want to remove the entire set to, because we'll have to remove the entire dashboard to change it. So I don't want that to happen. And my car was also about to end its 3-year mark where my warranty gets over. And yeah, so I don't want to do that. So I was so keen following up with them to fix it. So the next service came again. I dropped my car at the same place, but before that, there were a couple of things happened. So my tire had given up, so I hit a pothole and it had bulged my tire. So I have to replace my tire now. And out of 4 tire, 2 tires were out. So sorry, I forgot to tell this. The old tire which had in wear, I had replaced it with a second-hand tire, and now the 2 tires are completely out. So I took this as a chance and I replaced all 4 of them to an Oklahoma F1, and I love those tires. The mileage had dropped for sure after changing to Oklahoma's, but the road comfort, the noise from the road, and everything had reduced. So I'm so happy with whatever I paid for Oklahoma's. It was a bit expensive. It was 26K. Whereas I think it's a JK tire. They were fitting me somewhere around like 22-ish, but this is 26, not 22-ish. It's somewhere around like 20,000, and this was some 26,000, and I was happy paying that additional 6,000, and I'm happy with the tire. And the second thing happened was that there was a dent happened in my car bonnet. I had to park it at my friend's place, and someone had dented my car. So after this, I started to look for an service center so keenly, and I found one. It was a Bosch service center at Palakkad. I went to Palakkad. I dropped my car there to check what can be done, and they promised that color match and everything will be fine for the dent removal and other things. So yeah, with half a mind, I just dropped the car, asked them to fix the bumper, front bumper, and the bonnet, and went back to pick up my car, and I was gone. They just matched it so perfectly. So the color match was amazing with the car, and I was so happy. I took the car and I told that I will also come back again to that same place to color my rear bumper. So I was so happy with that thing. And yeah, and now the next service comes. So this is my ninth service, I think. So yeah, so I dropped my car again to Kun Motors itself, saying all these things. And I didn't say the parcel tray cutting, I didn't say the suspension, I didn't say the audio control issue and things. I just told them to fix this service due issue. So for that, they took my car 3 times. So what happened was that after the service, it was not fixed. I told them it was not fixed. So they didn't care much. So I wrote a complaint to Tata. So Tata people and everybody called me, and then again the process started. See, they said that they will arrange in home visit. The roadside assistant will come, and then he will fix it for me. He came, he couldn't fix it. He came with the computer though, but he couldn't fix it. He said he will follow personally and he'll get it fixed. But he left. That's all. He's gone. So again, but the representative from their service center had called me, and then they made an appointment. They took the car, and the car was returned as it is. They didn't fix the issue, and I asked why, and then they said that they don't have the rights to do it. They'll have to get permission from Tata and do it. And I said, go get the permission and do it. That's why you took the car there, and you're not doing it, and you just wasted my 400 rupees of petrol. Now you're just returning it back by doing nothing. And I was so pissed. And I wrote a mail to Tata saying this is what the status is. And then again they called me, and then I told that I will come, fix it in front of me, then I'm okay with it. And they said they gave me a date. I went there. They could fix it in 15 minutes actually. So surprisingly, they were able to do it. They know how to do it, but they doesn't want to do that. So I don't know why. So yeah, all these things were happening, and I took the car out of the service center, and again I went to Bosch to repaint my rear bumper. They painted it completely. I was happy again with their service. So yeah, now the car is completely fine, completely perfect, with all the panels are matching to the colors, except with all this the audio control issues, the suspension of boot and everything. So apart from that, my car is doing completely fine without any mechanical issue. The car is perfect without any mechanical. Surprisingly, there was no mechanical issue in the car so far. I have done around 54,000 kilometers at this point. But I'm completely happy with my car. And by doing all this 54,000 kilometers in this 4.5 years of time, I am so much happy. I've connected so much with my car, and my car is kind of an emotional support for me at that point. So I will talk about that in a different video. And for now, this is what I have with this is the experiences I have with my Tiago. So there you go. Being a visual arts graduate and the interest in telling stories, I have taken a small step towards something big through this video. So if you are watching this video, I'm so happy, and please provide your valuable feedback. That means a lot to me. Thank you for watching.